heading up the carriage to avoid the sick and piss and the staggering stag and hen doos who perhaps deserve a miss. Now there's a drunk man in his 40s who's spoiling for a fight. See it, say it's sorted, 'cause something isn't right. A chap who passed out some time ago's about to miss his stop and wakes up in a panic when the penny starts to drop. Pissed up party goers don't want the night to end, while a woman holds stilettos for her sozzled sobbing friend catching the last train home. The last train home. Feels like you've just fallen into the twilight zone. Best avoid all eye contact and hold on to your phone. But rest assured you won't be bored on the last train home. What ho folks, Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire here with song number 35 of my Song a Week project. This one was about my experiences of catching late night trains back home, particularly at the moment after I've played a gig. Quite often when I'm playing in the south east of England, I can generally get back home fairly easily because the trains go in and out of London to quite late. And actually the train line that Bedford happens to be on, where I live, has two airports on it. So trains pretty much go all night. So as long as I can get back into central London, I can generally get back home after a show in that kind of area. So I was coming home from Royal Tunbridge Wells the other weekend, and it inspired this song. Just seeing all the different types of people that you see on the late night train, not necessarily the last train, but late night trains back from the city. It's always quite interesting. I find it quite fun. I know lots of people don't like doing it because it's a bit messy, but it's quite fun on a Friday and Saturday night coming back home through London with all the party goers, everybody who's been out and about. Generally there's people who have been out clubbing, or people have been to the theatre, or people have been to watch football and have stayed out. There's a huge mix on that particular train line, and you get to see all sorts on it. So that's what inspired that. Do let me know of your experiences catching late trains as well. I know not necessarily everybody gets them because most people drive, but I don't drive. I can't drive. Never driven. None of my family ever drove growing up. So I get trains and public transport generally, or lifts. Kind of why I formed the band, because both of those guys drive. But yes, do let me know of your experiences catching late night trains. It'd be quite interesting to see those in the comments. I played this song on my Flight Soprano Ukulele, details of which can be found in the description below the video. If you're interested in getting hold of one of these, then follow the link there. So last week's video was about being tired of all the stuff that comes with being creative. You just want to do the creative thing and all the stuff that comes around it, like posting on social media, talking about politics and that kind of thing. When I just want to write silly songs. And so I've had some lovely responses from that. Last week I actually set up a convention as well of doing comment bingo, where I try and guess the kind of comments that I'm going to get about the particular video that I've just posted. So last week my predictions were that people would tell me to get off social media because it's evil, or might tell me that I need to do more or less politics when I'm singing. I can tell you happily now, nobody has made those comments, which has been quite nice. It's quite a relief. You always kind of think of those things going into it. So this week my prediction is, I don't think there's going to be particularly any negativity around this one. There'll just be lots of comments, people talking about their experiences on trains. But I guarantee some people are going to say, I haven't caught the train for however many years. So that's my prediction for the comments on this video. Do make sure you're commenting and do make sure you're asking questions, because they make these videos far more interesting. So let's have a look at what people have been saying about last week's one. So Rick Martin 8626 says, thanks for the comments about American politics. I'm dumbfounded by our swing towards an authoritarian scumbag as well, and frankly I'm rather frightened. Your humour and wonderful songs are a relief during these uncertain times. I wish I had the money to emigrate to Britain and escape this country. Well, thanks for that. I'm glad that I am bringing some kind of respite from that. But to be honest, Britain is going that way as well. Where America goes, the UK follows, I'm afraid to say. So the stuff that happens over there, I'm kind of predicting some horrendousness for over here as well. So you don't want to come to Britain. But thanks for the comment. I'm going to try and not be too political on this one, because I realise I have been over the last few weeks, responding to those kind of comments. I will respond to them as and when I need to, but it gets tiring. I just want to write silly songs. So talking about politics gets exhausting. But I'm happy to if people are wanting to. Heather the Hylian 627 says, "I love your silly songs. No More Fucks to Give is my life anthem." Thank you very much for that. Auntie Rana says, "I've worked with the public since I was 16 and it's exhausting." Yeah, it is. And being creative must be an additional grind and pressure. It's so much time and mental energy expenditure. We appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. I would say working with the public is probably harder and more frustrating. I have done it myself. Working with teenagers was quite tiring and frustrating, but actually was never as bad as the kind of red tape and the bureaucracy that came with teaching. So yeah, working with the public has always been a bit of a nightmare anyway. I'm glad I get to be creative in my job. Alec Hopkins 6545 says, "With all the crappy things in the world, songs like yours brighten the day up, allows us to have a laugh. Everyone gets exhausted even from things they love doing. When exhausted, a good break is what's needed to come back stronger and better." I completely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. It's why I take a break every so often from this, from doing these songs, because it does get tiring. It gets exhausting, but I do love doing it. And I don't want to get fed up with it. And I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Is not getting fed up with the thing that you love doing, because that's where the joy from life comes, really. Madonna Grogan says, "Silly songs save the world. More sings, please." I'm assuming that says songs. More songs, please. Absolutely. I'll keep throwing them out for as long as I keep coming up with them. Tavern Weird, I think is how I pronounce that, says, "Thank you for turning my Sunday morning into a fun day morning. Silly man, enjoy your day, sir." Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy these on a Sunday morning. I'm recording this one quite late. I normally record this on Thursday or Friday, but we had to take the dog into the vet because he's got an ear infection. And so that put my week off a little bit. And then this morning, I was attempting to replace the toilet seat, and I couldn't get it off. So we've now got a broken toilet seat. So that's why I'm recording this one so late this week. Commander Ernie Paul says, "I'm glad you take the time to learn how to pronounce some of our odd handles." Yeah, absolutely. So also says, "I too want to write some silly songs if I can only convince my 97 subscribers to support me full time instead of working in retail." You'll get there. I'll come along and support you as well. I'm assuming you're at Commander Ernie Paul. I'm going to go and give you a follow after this. James Wright 4322 says, "Have you ever played a show where everything felt as close to perfect as it could ever get? As if you could do no wrong? In other words, tell us something of your favourite show played." There's been a few of them, actually. There have been a few shows where it's felt like that. I mean, my very first headline show at Squires in Bedford felt very exciting. And that felt very good. When I played whenever I play at Asylum Festival in Lincoln, it always feels like that because there's a great crowd, great audience, people are always up for it, and it's really good fun. And I've had some great band shows over the last few months as well. Biggleswade was a particularly good one, and the one that I played last weekend in Winchester was fantastic with the Sweet Chunks band. So I can't put my finger on one single show that was the best one ever, but there have been a great few, and particularly this year with the band, it's getting more exciting because we're starting to find our groove together, and starting to develop that on stage banter that you see between bands. So yeah, we're getting there with those. I'm having more and more of them as we go along. So that's a great question. Thanks for that. Colleen Marine 8907 says, "No question today, but I do love all your songs as well as the shirt you're wearing in this video." So not this video, the last video. Yeah, I think I picked that up on a charity shop a few years ago. And it was a little bit too tight for me for a while. But I've lost a lot of weight over the last year with the new dog. And it fits again nicely again now. So yeah, thanks for that. Paige Wittenberg 1576 says, "Read the a-holes in your comments. In these kind of situations, I have found it useful to remember this saying: mermaids do not lose sleep over the opinions of shrimp." That's a great one. That's actually a really good quote. I'm going to try and remember that one. Dan Forbes 3573 says, "Another great silly song on my birthday too. May sound like a selfish bastard, but any chance of a quick belated birthday shout out in next week's video?" Absolutely, Dan Forbes. Dan Forbes 3573. Happy birthday for last week. I hope you had a great day. Hope you continue to have a great week as well. Phil Richards 7240 says, "Well, at the time I'm writing this comment, I'm just about to take my wife for a meal and then go to Winchester and watch some bloke at the Railway Inn. Hope he's good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that bloke playing at the Railway Inn and all the blokes playing at the Railway Inn that night. It was a great show and we had a lot of fun. So thanks for coming along. As always, folks, keep your comments and your questions coming. I always say it makes these videos far more interesting and gives me more to talk about. So yeah, make sure you are commenting and asking questions below. Album update now. Album 4, Carry On While the World Burns, is finished, ready to go, and it is being released on Friday the 13th of December. So in just under 2 weeks' time, album number 4 will be out. If you want to hear it before anybody else, I'm actually going to be doing a listening party with my patrons on Patreon on Thursday the 5th of December at 6:30 GMT. Join in, come and join the Patreon. I'm actually doing it for even for just subscribers who are not paying. Okay, so I'm doing it for all patrons. We're going to do a listen party on YouTube and on the patrons Facebook group. So if you're interested in hearing all of those songs before anybody else, follow the link in the description to find out how you can come and join my Patreon community. Another exciting bit of news, I'm actually going to be doing a live launch of the new album from Tunbridge Wells at the Green Duck on Sunday the 15th of December, so 2 days after it's released. I'm actually going to be doing a playthrough of it as part of my show at the Green Duck in Tunbridge Wells. And I'm also going to be streaming live on YouTube and Facebook from that as well. So that'll be on Sunday the 15th of December. I will post times nearer to the time, so keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for updates about how that's all going to be working. But yes, come and join us on YouTube or Facebook because that should be really good fun, releasing and launching the album. Finally, a little update on the last few shows I've got coming up this year. On Saturday, the 7th of December, I'm going to be at Hove, or Brighton and Hove, at the Brunswick with my band Fancy Chaps and the fantastic Sweet Chunks Band. That's going to be the last band show that I'm doing this year, so it'd be lovely to see you at that if you're around in that area. On Saturday, the 14th of December, I'm going to be at the Electric Theatre in Guildford as part of the 100 Watt Club. So it's a cabaret night. I'll be doing a couple of short sets there, playing some songs through there. So it'd be lovely to see you in Guildford if you're about for that. And then, as I mentioned before, on Sunday the 15th of December, I'm going to be at the Green Duck in Tunbridge Wells. Now, I'm also going to be doing a matinee show on that day. So I'm going to be doing a matinee show and an evening show in Tunbridge Wells. So it'd be lovely for you to come along to either of those. I'm actually going to be playing through the album in the first half of both of those shows, and then streaming the second one. So it's given me a little bit of a practice in the first one. So if you're interested in coming along, get hold of tickets for that. You can find details in the description for all of those shows and how you can go about getting tickets for those. So as I mentioned before, if you're interested in getting hold of a Flight ukulele, the details in the description. If you're interested in coming and joining my Patreon community, then you can find details in the description for that as well as details of all the shows that I've got coming up for the rest of 2024 and actually into 2025 now as well. Follow the link in the descriptions for any of those things. And that's about it from me for this week. If you are planning to come to one of my shows over the next couple of weeks, it'd be lovely to see you. If not, stay safe. And until next time, toodle pip.